Hi everyone, this is Teresa from Base 10 Montessori, and today in this video I am putting together all my teen board lessons into one quick reference guide. For those of you who are unfamiliar with my channel, I have already filmed these 3 individual lessons previously in a longer format, so this is just a quick reference guide for people who don't need the in-depth explanations. So if you are watching this video and you feel like it is going too fast and you need the longer, more in-depth videos first, make sure to look in my comment section. I will put a link to my playlist for Group 3 Montessori Math. In that playlist, you will find the individual videos for each lesson. Those videos will go slower and have a lot more information. For those of you who are already familiar with the teen boards and just need a quick reminder of the lessons, this reference video will show you how to move through each lesson quickly. I will also include time codes so you can skip to the part of the video you need the most. There are 3 lessons to the Montessori teen boards. The first lesson is introducing quantity. The second lesson is introducing the symbols. And then the third lesson is combining quantity with the symbols. Each lesson has 2 parts. The description box below the video will include the time codes for each part of each lesson so that you can navigate through the video as easily as possible. With that in mind, let's begin with Lesson 1, Introducing Quantity. So right here you can see that we have our first set of colored beads. And this is what we're going to start introducing to our student in the Teens Board lesson. Now the Teens Board has 2 parts to this very first lesson. The first part is simply introducing the colored beads for the first time. And then we're going to introduce the colored beads with the golden beads. This is 1. 1. This is 2. 1, 2. This is 3. 1, 2, 3. Can you pick up the 2? Place the 2 over here. Can you pick up the 1? Can you count the 3? 1, 2, 3. And so we're going to keep going like this until we're satisfied that they've had enough time to associate the language with the correct bead. So we're going to ask our student to manipulate the material in association with the correct language. And once you're satisfied that they understand that language, you're going to give the next part of the 3-period lesson. What's this? 2. What's this? 3. What's this? 1. So that's the last part of the 3-period lesson where we ask them to give the language when we ask, what's this? First part, we're just giving the language. This is 2, 1, 2. Second part, we're manipulating the materials in association with the language and making sure they understand which language goes with which colored bead. So that's the second part. And then the third part is that recall of what is this? What's this called? Seeing if they can give us that language directly. So here we've started our inverted triangle, and that means that we can move on to our next set of colored beads and do another 3-period lesson. So this is 4, and we're going to count 4. This is 5, and we can go ahead and count the 5. And then this is 6. So we're going to introduce the language again. We're going to count it, and then we're going to go into that second part of the 3-period lesson again, where we ask them to manipulate the material. However you want to manipulate it in association with the language, that's the second part of the 3-period lesson again. And the third part is, what is this? What's this called? And see if they can remember it. We're going to keep going and do this again one more time with the 7, 8, and 9. Once we've introduced all the colored beads with our 3-period lesson and built our inverted triangle, we can move on to the next part. Now we're going to put these 10 bars together with our colored beads and introduce teen quantity. Again, we're going to approach this exactly the same way with the 3-period lesson. So first we have to introduce the material with the language. This is 11. Let's count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is 12. And again, you can go through counting it and then invite them to count it. This makes 13. And again, we're going to count it and make sure that they count the quantity as they go. So we're going to introduce it, give the language, count it, and then invite our student to count each one. Now, if they're struggling, if this is all that they can handle, this is where you stop with the lesson. But if this is easy for them, then we're going to continue. And this is where you can ask them, can you build 12? Can you build 11? Can you build 13? And you don't have to do this in order. You can do this in a random order, however you want to manipulate it. And of course, the last part of the lesson is asking, what is this? So go ahead and make something and say, you know what? What is this? What about this? What is this? And what is this? If you feel like this is really simple for them, they've got plenty of energy, they're ready to take on more, go ahead and move on to the next ones. 14, 15, and 16, exactly the same way. Keep giving those 3-period lessons until they get to the last ones, 17, 18, and 19. So that is how we do the quantity for the teens board. And that is the very first lesson, just working with this quantity. And now that they've worked with quantity for a little bit, we're going to start introducing the teen symbols. And to do that, we're going to use the teen boards. Now, normally you would set up the teen boards to stack this one on top and this one on the bottom. But as you can see, for our filming purposes, I can't do that. So I have a limited space to film. So today we're going to work with them just like this. And in fact, for the very first part of the lesson, we're only going to need this board. And just like introducing the quantity, we are going to introduce these numbers with a 3-period lesson. And feel free to ask your student what the numbers are as they see them. So this is 1, 2, and 3. So we're only working with the first 3 numbers in the first part of this lesson, so we can set those aside for the moment. Now let's look at our board and ask our student, what number do they see? What is this number? And of course, they should say 10. And as always, we should ask them, how many zeros does 10 have? Has 1 0. If I put the 1 in here, just like that, this makes 11. And then we're going to take it out and allow our student to make 11. Let's do the next one. What's this number? 2. And what's this number again? 10. And how many zeros does 10 have? 1 0. So we have 10 and 2. If we put 2 in there like that, that makes 12. And again, take it out and allow the student to put it in and say 12. Let's move on to the next one. What's this called? 3. And again, what's this called? 10. How many zeros? 1 0. If we put the 3 in here just like that, we get 13. As you're saying 13, try to emphasize the word teen, because that's going to be important later in the lesson. And now let's play an association game. Can you point to the 12? Can you point to 11? Can you take out the 12? Can you build 11 right here? Can you build 13 right here? Can you build 12 right here? And you can do this part of the lesson as much as you want, as many times as you want, until you feel comfortable with their ability to grasp which number goes with which word. And when that's done, you're going to do the final part of the 3-period lesson. So again, mix it up, put things in a random order. And the third part of the lesson is simply asking, what does this say? 13. What does this say? 11. What does this say? 12. Notice that when I place them down and we're working with one at a time, notice that these are down and this is up. The reason why this is important is because we want to work in isolation with the number that we are focusing on. If we have lots of numbers up and lots of other things showing, that's a distraction, right? So when we're introducing something, we simply want to eliminate any extra distractions, any extra information that's being given in the environment, and simply focus on the task at hand. So if that was easy for them, we can move on to 4, 5, and 6. Again, we're going to introduce this exactly the same way. We're still using just this board, and we're going to do the same thing we did before. And we're going to do it exactly the same way until all the numbers for the teens are introduced. And again, you want to emphasize the word teen. For the second part of the lesson, we are going to use both boards. And at this point in time, you're going to invite your student to build the numbers in any order they want. So once they filled in the board any way they want with the numbers, we're going to ask them to read the numbers. So we're going to start here and say, what's this number? And what's this number? What does that say? And keep going until they've read all the numbers. Just remember that we don't correct them during the lesson. We're going to observe, we're going to make notes, we're going to do more 3-period lessons, more association games, and multisensory work if they're not understanding the difference between certain numbers. Once they've read all their random numbers, we're going to invite them to take all the numbers out. So once we've taken all the numbers out of the board, the guide is going to put the numbers in sequence. And you can even ask them, okay, this is 11, can you make 12? What comes after 12? And so you'll keep going until everything is in sequence. And when you get to 17, stop and have them listen to you say 17 and ask them, can you hear the word teen in 17? Teen means 10. As you can see, we have a lot of 10s here. So 10 and 7 is 17. And then continue on to 18. And 19. Once we fill in the board, we're going to ask our student to count the numbers starting with 11. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Now let's count backwards. 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. And this is how the setup will look. You're going to have your 10 bars over here. There'll be 9 of them. And then you're going to have your inverted triangle of the colored beads. And then you are going to have both boards. This board actually properly put together stacks below the first board. However, because of my filming limitations, we are going to do this side by side today. This says 11. This is 11. So this says 11. This is 11. This says 12. This is 12. And so you're going to keep going all the way through 19. This says 19. This is 19. So we need to emphasize that this says 11. This says 12. But this quantity, it is 12. It is 11. After that, we're going to put everything back and invite our students to play a game with us. For the next part, we're going to play a game where we're just going to pick a random number and we can ask them, what does this say? And then we can ask them, how do you build it? What does it look like? So this is 19. And then we're going to ask them to build 19. What does this say? This says 15. Can you build 15? So this says 15. This is 15. Put things in a random order. Ask them to say what it says and then to build it on the left side. Once you've done that part of the lesson, you can invert the game. So for instance, you can put out 19 in the quantity and ask them to make 19 with the symbols. So this is 19. What does it look like to make 19 with the numbers? You can play this game one of two ways. You can build the number symbols first for them and have them build it with the beads, or you can reverse it where you build the beads and they have to go find the symbol. So just remember to follow your student, and if you need to go slower, go as slow as you need to go. But if you want to go and put all 3 of these lessons together in the same sitting because you're maybe working with a little bit of an older student and you're doing some remedial work, or your student is picking up on it quickly, again, follow your student and go as fast or as slow as you need to through these lessons. And that's it. That's the last lesson for the teen boards. With that being said, I hope you've liked this video. If you have, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.